Your life will never change. Until you understand one simple truth, your mind is the architect of your reality. Stay with me until the end. The final lessons will truly change your perspective. The first truth I want you to sit with, really sit with, is this. Your mind believes whatever you repeatedly tell it, and over time it quietly begins to build your life around that story. Think about that for a moment. Every thought you repeat, every doubt you entertain, every fear you rehearse in silence, your mind treats it like an instruction manual. It doesn't pause to question whether that thought is true, fair, or even kind. It simply absorbs, reinforces, and eventually turns it into your reality. I've seen this happen not just in my own life, but in the lives of people across the world. Brilliant, capable, extraordinary individuals who were held back not by lack of opportunity, but by the quiet voice inside them whispering, "You're not ready," or "You're not enough," or "This is too big for someone like you." And the most dangerous part is that these thoughts don't always sound dramatic. Sometimes they sound practical, logical, even protective. They sound like caution, they sound like humility. But over time they become limitations you never consciously chose. Your mind is like fertile soil. Whatever you plant in it, fear or faith, doubt or belief, scarcity or possibility, it will grow. If you plant fear every day, you will harvest hesitation. If you plant comparison, you will harvest insecurity. If you plant criticism, you will harvest self-doubt. But if you plant courage, even when your hands are shaking, if you plant possibility, even when you don't see the whole path, if you plant the simple belief that you are allowed to grow, allowed to learn, allowed to take up space, your mind will begin to create a completely different reality. I remember moments early in my journey when I would walk into rooms where I felt like an outsider. Different industry, different culture, different expectations, and the loudest voice in that room wasn't anyone else's. It was the one in my own head asking, "Do you belong here?" That question alone can shrink your energy, your presence, your confidence. Because when your mind believes you don't belong, your body follows. Your voice becomes smaller. Your choices become safer. Your dreams become negotiable. And one day I realized something powerful. The world was not deciding my place, my own mind was. So I changed the question. I stopped asking, "Do I belong?" And I started telling myself, "I earned my seat. I will grow into this space. I will learn what I don't know. I will become who this moment requires me to be." And slowly, something shifted. Not overnight, not magically, but steadily. Because confidence is not something you suddenly feel. It is something your mind learns through repetition. Every time you speak to yourself with strength instead of doubt, you are rewriting your internal script. And here's the part most people don't realize. Your mind is always listening. It listens when you joke about your failures. It listens when you criticize your body, your work, your progress. It listens when you dismiss your achievements as luck. And over time, it builds an identity around those patterns. Imagine living in a house where someone keeps turning off the lights every time you try to move forward. Eventually, you stop walking confidently. That's what negative self-talk does. It dims your internal light. But the opposite is also true. When you begin to speak to yourself with respect, patience and belief, your mind starts turning the lights back on. You begin to take chances you once avoided. You begin to see opportunities where you once saw risk. You begin to move through life with a quiet certainty that says, I may not know everything yet, but I am capable of learning. And capability is far more powerful than perfection. Think about the stories you repeat daily. I'm bad with money. I'm not creative. I'm shy. I'm unlucky. These aren't personality traits. They are rehearsed identities. And anything rehearsed long enough becomes your comfort zone, even if it's limiting you. Your mind loves familiarity more than it loves growth. That's why change feels uncomfortable at first. When you begin telling yourself a new story, I am learning, I am improving, I am becoming stronger, your mind resists because it hasn't heard that story before. But if you repeat it with action, with consistency, with small evidence every day, your mind begins to believe it. And once your mind believes it, your behavior aligns with it. And once your behavior aligns, your life begins to reflect it. This is how transformation actually happens. Not through one big breakthrough, but through thousands of quiet internal conversations. There is a spiritual dimension to this too. The energy you hold in your thoughts shapes the energy you carry into the world. When your inner dialogue is rooted in fear, you move cautiously, defensively, protectively. But when your inner dialogue is rooted in trust in your ability to learn, to grow, to recover, to evolve, you move with openness. And openness attracts opportunity. Not because the universe suddenly changes, but because you are finally available to receive what was always there. I often say this, the world responds to the version of you that you believe you are. If you believe you are small, the world will feel intimidating. If you believe you are growing, the world will feel like a classroom. If you believe you are capable, the world begins to look like a field of possibilities instead of a series of threats. So start paying attention, not just to what you say out loud, but to what you whisper to yourself when things go wrong. When you make a mistake, do you say, I'm such a failure? Or do you say, I'm learning? When someone else succeeds, do you say, I'll never reach that level? Or do you say, if it's possible for them, growth is possible for me too? These small mental choices shape your emotional world, and your emotional world shapes your actions, and your actions shape your future. Your life is not built in the big moments alone. It is built in the invisible conversations you have with yourself every day. And here's something I want you to remember as you listen to this journey. This is just the beginning. What we're talking about right now is the foundation. The lessons ahead are even more powerful, even more transformative. And if this truth about your mind is already resonating with you, stay with me until the final points. Because the deeper shifts are still coming, and you don't want to miss what ties all of this together. But before we move forward, take a quiet moment and ask yourself honestly, what story has my mind been repeating about my life? And more importantly, is that story empowering me, or is it quietly limiting the person I'm becoming? There comes a moment in every person's life when they realize that the real battle was never outside, it was within, and that is where the sixth truth begins. Self-awareness is your greatest superpower. Not talent, not luck, not connections, self-awareness. Because the moment you truly understand your own mind, your patterns, your triggers, your fears, and your strengths, you stop reacting to life blindly and start responding to it consciously. Most people spend years trying to control their circumstances, changing jobs, changing cities, changing relationships, chasing new goals. But very few pause long enough to understand the one thing that travels with them everywhere, themselves. And that's why the same problems often repeat in different forms. The same stress, the same conflicts, the same self-doubt. Because when you don't understand your inner world, your outer world keeps mirroring the same lessons until you're ready to see them. Self-awareness is not about judging yourself. It's about observing yourself with honesty and compassion. It's like stepping outside your own life for a moment and watching your thoughts, your reactions, your habits, the way you speak to yourself, the way you respond when things don't go your way. Do you shut down? Do you become defensive? Do you overthink? Do you seek approval? These patterns don't define you, but until you see them, they quietly control you. Imagine driving a powerful car with your eyes closed. That's how most people move through life, full of potential, full of energy, but unaware of what's actually steering their direction. Self-awareness is opening your eyes. Suddenly you realize why certain situations drain you, why certain environments make you anxious, why certain people trigger insecurity or anger, and instead of blaming the world, you begin asking a more powerful question: what is this situation revealing about me? I remember a time when I thought strength meant always pushing through, always saying yes, always proving that I could handle everything. On the outside, it looked like ambition. On the inside, it was exhaustion and a quiet fear of disappointing others. It wasn't until I became honest with myself, truly honest, that I realized I wasn't just working hard, I was running from the discomfort of saying no. That awareness didn't make me weaker, it gave me freedom, because once you see your patterns, you have a choice. And choice is where your power lives. Without awareness, you repeat. With awareness, you evolve. And this evolution doesn't happen in dramatic moments. It happens in small pauses. The pause before reacting, the pause before saying yes, the pause before criticizing yourself. That pause is where growth begins. Self-awareness also changes your relationship with your emotions. Most people are either controlled by their emotions or disconnected from them. But awareness teaches you something deeper. Emotions are signals, not commands. Anxiety is a signal. Anger is a signal. Fear is a signal. Instead of saying, "Why am I like this?" you begin asking, "What is this feeling trying to tell me?" Maybe your anxiety is pointing toward misalignment. Maybe your anger is showing you a boundary that needs to be set. Maybe your fear is standing at the edge of your growth. When you listen instead of suppress, your emotions become guidance instead of obstacles. And there is something deeply spiritual about this process. Because the more aware you become, the quieter the noise inside your mind becomes. You stop reacting to every opinion, every comparison, every external expectation. You begin to recognize what is truly yours and what you've unconsciously carried from society, family, or fear. You start living from your center instead of from pressure. And when you live from your center, your decisions become clearer. Your energy becomes steadier. Your confidence becomes quieter but stronger. One of the most powerful shifts that comes with self-awareness is understanding your energy. Not everyone deserves access to it. Not every opportunity deserves your yes. Not every path is meant for you, even if it looks impressive from the outside. When you are unaware, you chase what looks good. When you are aware, you choose what feels aligned. And alignment creates peace, the kind of peace that doesn't depend on external validation. Think about how many times you felt drained after saying yes to something you didn't really want. Or how many times you've stayed silent to avoid conflict, only to feel resentment later. That's what happens when you ignore your inner voice. Self-awareness teaches you to hear that voice again. At first, it's quiet, easy to dismiss. But the more you listen, the stronger it becomes. And eventually, it becomes your compass. This awareness also changes how you see your weaknesses. Instead of hiding them, you understand them. Instead of feeling ashamed, you work with them. Because awareness removes the emotional weight of denial. It allows you to say, yes, this is where I struggle, and now I can grow. Growth becomes intentional instead of accidental. And here's something most people don't realize. Self-awareness makes your relationships healthier too. When you understand your triggers, you stop projecting them onto others. When you understand your insecurities, you stop seeking constant reassurance. When you understand your needs, you communicate them clearly instead of expecting people to guess. You stop reacting from wounds and start responding from clarity. And that changes everything. But here's the truth. Self-awareness is not always comfortable. Sometimes it shows you patterns you don't like, fears you've avoided, habits that are holding you back. But discomfort is not the enemy. Discomfort is the doorway. Because every time you choose awareness over avoidance, you reclaim a piece of your power. And slowly, something beautiful happens. You stop feeling like life is happening to you. You begin to feel like you are consciously shaping your life. You respond instead of reacting. You choose instead of drifting. You grow instead of repeating. And this is where freedom begins. Not when your circumstances are perfect, but when your awareness is strong enough that your circumstances no longer control your inner state. If this truth is resonating with you, stay with me, because the lessons ahead become even more powerful. What comes next brings everything together, and you'll regret missing the final insights that turn awareness into purpose. But before we move forward, take a moment to ask yourself one honest question. When was the last time you truly observed yourself without judgment? Because the moment you begin to see yourself clearly, your patterns, your fears, our strengths, your truth, you stop living on autopilot. And when you stop living on autopilot, you don't just change your habits, you change your direction. And sometimes that one shift in awareness is all it takes to change the entire course of your life. There is a powerful truth that many people underestimate, yet it quietly shapes every opportunity, every relationship, and every experience you attract into your life. Your energy creates your environment. Before your words speak, before your resumes read, before your talent is even noticed, your energy enters the room, people feel it. Life responds to it. Opportunities are drawn to it or pushed away by it. And the most important part is this. Your energy is not something mysterious or accidental. It is created by your thoughts, your emotional state, your beliefs about yourself, and the story you carry within you every single day. Think about the times you walked into a space feeling anxious, doubtful, or insecure. Maybe nothing had even gone wrong yet, but your body was tense, your voice slightly uncertain, your mind already preparing for rejection. Now think about a different moment, a day when you felt grounded, grateful, clear about your intention. the same world looked different. Conversations flowed differently. People responded differently. The situation may not have changed, but your energy had, and because your energy changed, your experience changed. This is why two people can walk into the same opportunity and have completely different outcomes. One carries fear, the other carries possibility. One focuses on what could go wrong, the other focuses on what they can contribute. And life tends to mirror by CK the energy you bring into it. I learned this lesson in moments when I realized that success is not just about preparation or skill. It is also about presence. There were rooms where I had the qualifications, the experience, the preparation, but if I entered carrying self-doubt, that doubt subtly influenced how I spoke, how I held myself, how I responded. But when I entered with clarity, humility, and belief in my value, something shifted. People didn't just see my work, they felt my confidence, my intention, my commitment. Energy communicates what words cannot. And here's the deeper truth. Your environment is not only shaped by what you do, but by what you tolerate emotionally. If your mind is constantly filled with negativity, comparison, resentment, or fear, that emotional state becomes your atmosphere. You begin to notice more problems than possibilities. You interpret neutral situations as threats. You expect disappointment, and without realizing it, you prepare yourself for it. Over time, this mental environment shapes your external world because your perception determines your reaction, and your reactions determine your results. But the opposite is also true. When you consciously cultivate gratitude, even for small things, your mind begins scanning for what is working instead of what is missing. When you practice calm in stressful moments, you respond instead of reacting. When you carry purpose into your work, even routine tasks begin to feel meaningful. Energy is not about being positive all the time or pretending life is easy. It is about emotional responsibility. It is about choosing awareness instead of emotional autopilot. Every day you are broadcasting something. Stress or stability, insecurity or self-respect, bitterness or growth. And the world responds to that frequency. Another important part of this truth is understanding that your energy is deeply influenced by the people and environments you allow around you. If you constantly surround yourself with negativity, criticism, gossip, or pessimism, it slowly becomes your emotional baseline. You may not even notice the shift at first, but your motivation decreases, your mindset narrows, your confidence weakens. Energy is contagious, but so is growth. When you spend time with people who are focused, optimistic, disciplined, and purposeful, their mindset elevates yours. Their standards influence your habits. Their vision expands your thinking. Protecting your energy is not selfish. It is necessary. It means being intentional about what you consume, what conversations you engage in, what environments you remain in, and what voices you allow to shape your inner dialogue. It also means protecting your energy from yourself, from overthinking, from constant self-criticism, from the habit of replaying past mistakes. Your mind can either be a source of strength or a source of exhaustion, depending on how you train it. There is also a spiritual dimension to energy that many people overlook. When your actions are aligned with your values, your energy feels lighter. When you are honest, when you act with integrity, when your choices reflect your true priorities, you experience a quiet inner stability. But when your actions are driven by fear, approval, or comparison, your energy becomes scattered and heavy. Alignment creates peace, and peace creates clarity, and clarity allows you to recognize opportunities that stress and distraction would have hidden from you. This is why protecting your peace is not a luxury, it is a strategy for growth. One of the most powerful shifts you can make is to stop asking, "How do I control everything around me?" and start asking,